Here we let this dry. I went ahead and I did the flames on here, the teeth, whatever you want to call it. But I did those. You'll catch those on the time lapse. But we're gonna go ahead and hit the rest of the midsole all throughout here, not forgetting this part. So yeah, this time using the same brush, a quarter angle brush seems to be the ticket. We're not doing a lot. We just need the control. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the coats. Remember, we're pulling from a corner here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this right here. We're we're actually using the pearl set. I love this color. I love all pearl sets. I got basically all the colors except for gold. If you're wondering why I'm not wearing a glove, I'm also just touching it right here. I'm actually aware of it. Like I said, you ain't gotta speed through this. I'm choosing to do the green first. So if I happen to bypass this line here, I'm painting the other part black. So black is as Chase Mancini once said, black is the absence of color. So that'll basically cover anything. So since I already got that corner, I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, my pull game is harder than my push game. So I'm gonna go with my strength right here. Always play to your strengths. It's always good. Like there's times when I practice something just to practice it, because I can do it. The time it leaves itself for practice. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this. You guys just sit back, enjoy, and just take in what I'm showing you guys. That's it. Like I'm saying, I don't consider myself to be the best, not just yet, but I am confident in my abilities. Like I said, won't you sit back, check out what I'm doing, and hang tight.
I still got a lot of shit to conquer. I hope that ain't even my concern though. You know I'll be working till I get what I deserve. Whatever totems I get personally, you know I'ma earn those. This ain't even about some shit up on a checklist. This about the fact that I'm about to test this. I'm about to figure out what my best is. I can't avoid it because now your boy invested, and I ain't got a choice except to smile and accept it. Pretty reckless, pretty restless, cause I've lived my life expecting love to come the second my attempt was done. And yeah, I guess to some extent I was correct because I'm getting buzzed, but now I'm about to be ubiquitous. Look it up, yeah, or that's at least what I'm assuming. But as alluded to, reality is looming, and now your dude about to make a move and take the truth from...
What's up, guys? So we got our coats of the midsole going on. I got two coats there. We got three coats of blue. I'm gonna tell you the reason why after that, because we're gonna lay some stencils on here. But what I'm gonna attack today at this particular moment, next step is getting the front black. We're gonna work all black. We're gonna black out the sock liner. We're gonna put some black on the midsole. We're gonna go ahead and black this out. So first off, what I want to do is I'm take my shoe tree out, so that way I got a little bit more flex to it, because I gotta get this sock liner down. Because as a matter of fact, it's always good to take precautionary measures. Taking 5 minutes would save you hours of hassle. I'm telling you. So I take all precautions necessary, even though I know I feel confident um, with doing this without touching a sock liner, but I always just take the extra step because nobody's perfect. I've done many a times where I thought I can do it a certain way, and life just gave me a reality check. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that down. We're gonna go ahead and hit the front toe box, even though we're gonna dye it. Like I said, I'd always like to open up those pores. So again, I'm gonna take my Q-tip, get my control on there, and we're not rubbing hard. We're just getting that top coat off. See, I touched it over here with the blue, but see, I wasn't worried about it because I knew about it. I'm going with black right now because I got some time to let the shoe sit. So when you dye the leather, it's you gotta let it dry for a little bit. So that way the paint can stick to it, because the leather's gonna stay a little bit moist. So I would just like let it dry for at least an hour. Like I said, that's just me. I never take a heat gun and heat up my shoe for the simple fact that I feel that the heat, the instant heat, the change from cool to temperature, then you want to paint right on top of the shoe being warm. I feel that it ruins the integrity of the paint, and it's gonna chip a lot faster. It's gonna crack a lot faster. So if you just take your time, I wait 25 minutes, 20 minutes. I go ahead and I hit the shoe, and I go and do something else, or that's why I like to do one shoe and then the other shoe, because when I'm doing a certain spot or a certain situation on one shoe, I can go ahead and do another part on another shoe. So while this is drying, I can go back to the first shoe, and then there's still touch-ups there that I need to do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll show you how I'm gonna put some flat black on there. But find yourself a brush. I got myself many brushes here, and I at one point these were soldiers in war, but over time they wear out and their bristles fade, and they don't serve the same purpose. Like, this was a nice trim brush, but over time it just worked its way down the ladder. Now I use it for dyeing certain situations. So the dye that I'm using, it's Dark Knight official soul dye. No, I lie. It's Angelus leather dye, black. So I got my dye here. Don't need too much of it. A lot goes a long way. So you're just gonna go ahead and, just like painting, we're gonna start towards the middle and work towards the edges. Like I said, a little goes a long way. You're just barely getting it over there. It's like you don't even want to go that far. As you can see, how the leather is already like soaking in this dye. I'll use the same technique if I'm doing the shoe blue, or if I'm doing, like, if it's gonna be a dark blue, and if it's white, I will dye that leather part as well, kind of like the same color, at least in the same family, so that way the more protection, the better off you are. Like I said, this is a process. You just have to baby it. You don't want to blob it on, because the minute you start getting anxious and you just want it to be over with, that's the same exact minute you get a drop somewhere or a drip or something just ran, and now it just ruins so much. Like I said, we're gonna work our way towards the edge. And you're barely wanting to get there. And when you decide to get to the edge, make sure you don't have a lot of dye on your brush, because if you happen to go this way, you're pretty much gonna like wring the dye off, and it's gonna drip down in between there. So when you get to edges, always go away from the edge. Never scoop the edge. Like you want to brush off of it. Because if you scoop this way, you're going to take that ledge. Like I said, you're going to take that ledge of the shoe. And you're pretty much going to like squeegee off paint or dye down below where you don't want it. Scared me there for a minute. Thought it was a drop of dye. So we're going to go ahead and continue with this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to bore you with the process, but it's pretty much just like I say, just be patient. Alright guys, we got the front toe dyed out. It's dry already. The reason why we're choosing to do the midsole and the top is because when I start doing the mesh or the sockliner I should say, I could just keep the shoe planted. I ain't gotta pick it up, I ain't gotta move it. I just gotta put it on my turntable and just, spin it around. So I won't have to touch any of the midsole. So we're gonna go ahead and whenever doing black, I know I don't like the shiny look at all, but I've come to realize that regular black is stronger than flat black. And what I mean by that is it has more elasticity. Like the paint will flex more and it would have more give to it than the flat black. So what I always do is if I'm gonna put black on something, I put 2 coats of regular black and then I go ahead and follow that up with 3 coats of flat black. So that way I know that base paint, that the strongest of the two is first. And that way I always do 5 coats on my shoes. So that way I can control what I want to do. So let's get started. What I always like to do too, whenever I dip my paint, I kind of like twirl, I spin my brush up against the edge here. So when I spin it, I can create a point. So I'm always spinning my brush just so I can get that nice little point. And remember, you want to get it as close as you can. Don't frustrate yourself. If you're in a spot for too long and you keep on going over and over, chances are you're just going to keep creating a bigger mess. So if I see I can't hit a spot, or if I don't get it like in 1 or 2 passes, I go ahead and leave it. So that way when I come back, I can I'll hit that even faster the next time. It's almost like when you play a game and you can't pass that part and you keep on trying, and no matter how much you keep on trying, you just like can't pass it and you keep on doing worse than the last time you tried. But then you go away from the game, come back hours too later, and you pass it on your first try. Same thing applies, man. It's all about a mindset.
Girl, I can't tell. How about tonight I show you something different?
What up, guys? Here we go. We got our midsole painted. Oh, excuse me. We got our midsole painted. We got 2 coats on the green, 2 coats on the black. Not too concerned about this right now because you're not going to see that later. But here we go. We're going to hit this sock liner. First off, I always like to measure my stuff out. Always use a scale. And today we're going to be mixing some GAC 900 with some black. I like to do 50-50 in this case. This sock liner really soaks up a lot. So I'm going to go with about maybe like a 0.25 followed by a 0.25, making it equal, 0.5. Basically half of an ounce. So make sure your scale is set to ounces. And I like to put my cup on there, zero it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fill this up. Oop. Fill this up till it gets about 2.5. Do a little bit at a time because a couple drops can really do it. I like to be precise. Okay, we go. We see we at 2.5 there. So now we're gonna go ahead and add our black. So like I said, pour sparingly. It'll get there. The last thing you want to do is make too much. So we're gonna go ahead and just add our black. Scale gonna go up, and all you're looking for is 50. So we're going to 0.5. When it gets to this point, just barely tip the bottle. Let the drop, see? Because there you go, that drops is going through it. There we go. We at 50. If you don't got one of these, you need to pick one up. It's a mini mixer. it's awesome. It's amazing. Does instead of sitting there mixing it with a brush, you really get in there. And if you mix it up with this, we all mixed up there. Take that scale away. Make sure when you do this too, you got a hair dryer close to you, cause the hair dryer helps it from running. Pick yourself out a brush. Going back, this is a brush that I had before. This is a quarter angle brush that it's done its business. It's done its job. So basically, what I use it for is for dyeing. And what I like to do before I dye, sock liners. If you look at here, you can see a whole bunch of this little furry stuff. This little felt all around the edges. This little felt. What I like to do, and I'm not saying like burn the whole damn shoe down, but I got a barbecue lighter, and what I like to do is, if you check this out, I like to just pass it over there really fast. You know what I'm saying? Just you're basically just trying to get all those fibers down. So if you look now, well, check out right here. See how them fibers are going down? They go around the edge. All around the edge. And I don't leave it there long. You won't even need to leave it there long at all, I promise you. But it makes for a lot cleaner. See that? I know you can see some right here, but if you get the hint, you just basically just pass it around through. All you're doing is just getting the top little hairs, because that'll make for a lot cleaner result. Instead of you won't have so many hairs like plastered on top of each other, like almost like hair, like combed over solid. So now we're just basically gonna. I won't take my my needles, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna trace the shoe just like I would if I was painting. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, and the trick is just like it is with painting, like. Just do light dabs. You ain't got to go right to where you're going to be at, because this is going to bleed. So you want to give it time to bleed. That way at the same time you can actually see how much room you have before it bleeds too much. So I'm going to go ahead and do this around this tag just to kind of like show you what I'm talking about. You want to pull the tab up and hit away from it. Don't. And if you feel like it's too wet, I do little sections at a time, just for the simple fact that I like to keep it as original as possible. Like, I don't want this tag to get dye on it. So if I'm done with this side, I'm gonna go ahead right quick before I move on, and that tab got some time to lay down and soak up. I'm gonna go hit that spot.